What's going on, my people? It's G Money here, and today I've got a part 2 of the Gangs of Chicago O Block versus Tukerville. Make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe, and thank you to this person here because he got the duration and the hidden message correct, and I'm going to be leaving another one in here, so make sure you stay focused, people, and try and find the hidden message and you will get an honourable mention. Without a doubt, let's get straight into the video.
Ever been affiliated with Wick City or O Block, and especially as of recently, names like Muwop and Gleesh have become more relevant. For the purpose of today's story, this isn't an O Block member lineup. It's just an initial introduction to the main events of the beef up until around 2014. But don't get it twisted, if we go into a future video covering further into this beef, I will of course introduce new names. But the names aren't really what's important, it's the sentiment. These were the Wick City BDs holding down their block and doing the most to fight their ops. The Wick City BDs were very well known for throwing up GDK hand signs repeatedly to show the world that they were GD killers who were very much indeed down to ride and kill.
GDK shit, man. That was
I don't know.
Voice in their hand, man. GDK, broke boys.
GDK.
So, who were the GD boys that these guys wanted to K so badly? Well, over on the STL EBT side, they were up against a few names who you might know if you're well versed in Chicago drill culture. The first to come to mind is Jakira Barnes, also known as Key or KI, a young female hitter who was good friends with fellow member Tuka growing up. Another member was FBG.
Did he just say female hitter? So what? She's a shooter, yeah. America's mad. I swear down, America is mad. I'd like to go sometime.
Butter, who along with KI were also known as a bit of a dynamic duo dubbed the Twins. Other members actually went by FBG or Flyboy Gang, an STL EB clique more focused on making music, which included other names like...
Where have I heard FBG from? It's FBG Duck or something, I don't know.
FBG Brick, and of course the legendary FBG Duck.
There we go, yeah, I knew I weren't going crazy.
Lil J, who lived in STL and would later become more clicked up with them, but mainly had beef with 600.
Bless me, I feel proud of myself. Like, I know, like, some knowledge.
That kind of ran adjacent to this feud. They had Lil B and Wooski, who had actually been dubbed King of the Ops.
Wooski.
Boss Trell and Lil Doc. Once again, there might be some
these names, they're hard to keep up with.
Here, but these are the prominent members of both sides who played a prominent role during this period. So now you know the background and the people involved, let's take a closer look at the actual storyline, so we can get a better understanding of how events unfolded, causing Wick City to become O Block and STL EBT to become Tukerville. As I mentioned at the start of this video, the true origins of this beef are pretty hard to trace. It would seem pretty unrealistic to try and trace things back to their exact origins in the schoolyard scraps between the BD and GD members from each of these blocks. But we certainly can trace the true bloodshed between these groups back to one pivotal moment, and that's the killing of Edric Tyshawn Walker, also known as Ty, a BD who was gunned down in May 2009, being just 17 years old. Ty was shot multiple times just before 10 PM on the 6500 block of South Evans Avenue, with 3 suspects from EBT being charged with his murder. Now, Ty was actually closer aligned with another BD set called 065 Young Money, but following his death, local friends of his formed the group TYMB, or Ty You're My Brother. This was to both keep his memory alive and also a pledge to avenge him, a move that would become a little bit of a trend as this beef continues. Anywho, the loss of Ty was only the beginning of bloodshed in the area, mainly caused by STL EBT members, and it would actually be the next killing after Ty that would be a direct escalation of war between STL EBT and Wick City. In this case, the person in question was Reezy or Ra Ra, an older OG member of Wick City. So this is the beginning, this is the start of it then. Did he just say that? Reezy, aka Ra Ra, real name Laverick Marshall, was an older OG member of Wick City. And on August the 25th, 2010, Reezy was found shot in the back after the police broke up an enormous fight near 64th Street and South King Drive. Reezy was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Now, there's been a lot of speculation over who committed this crime, but nothing conclusive has ever been proven. But regardless, only a month later, another brutal slaying went down that appeared to be related. This time with an STL EBT member's relative being taken out on their turf.
Bro, man.
Apparently, in this case, a blood relative of
He looks young, man. Oh, he doesn't look too young there.
STL member FBG Kells.
Or is that no, it's someone different?
Victim was Jeremy Marshall.
Yeah, he looks young, man. He looks young. And their clothes are crazy as well. Look at that. That jacket or whatever he's got on. Looks mad.
also known on the street as Lil 4, not to be confused with a different Lil 4 who died in 2013. Jeremy was approached near 63rd and Rhodes Avenue by two people, with one pulling out a gun and beginning to shoot. He was shot in the back and tried to run before collapsing, but unfortunately didn't make it, and the shooters fled the scene in a vehicle. Once again, it was unclear exactly who committed this crime, but intense speculation has suggested that it was somebody from the Wick City BDs, with many going as far to draw a link between the fact that OD Perry from Wick City was gaining a reputation for being a shooter around this time. Now, this can't strictly be proven, but it's likely that there were retaliations between Wick City and STL EBT in the months that followed. And this would lead us to January 2011, where we're introduced to an all too familiar name in Chicago drill, Tooka.
Tooka.
On the 12th of January 2011, 15-year-old Shondale Gregory, known on the streets as Tooka, was waiting at a bus stop at the 600 block on East 63rd Street. At a certain point, a dark-coloured vehicle popped up.
Man, it looks so crazy over there, man. I feel like I'm watching real-life GTA. Let me know in the comments. America, I know, like GTA is based in America, but it's weird seeing it in real life. Hella different over there, man. I only just realised my lights turned off, so I had to just go and turn them back on.
He hops out wearing a half mask. Some have said that this person exchanged a few words with Tooka, but ultimately within seconds, they had shot Tooka multiple times and fled the scene.
Ooh.
STL member FBG Duck was actually close friends with Tooka, saying that after hearing about his death, he actually ran to the scene of the crime, where in a tragic moment, he even got to see his slain brother before he was taken away.
Me and him clicked, like that was one of my real close friends. Like every day, like spend the night at his house, he spend the night at mine. And my cousin came in there running to me crying and shit, talking about, your friend just got killed. You feel me? Then I ran all the way from 62nd and Wabash all the way to 63rd and St. Lawrence. Saked them right there on the floor. You know how that shit goes.
Ah, shit.
Tooka had unfortunately passed away on the scene before paramedics had arrived, and it's not entirely clear who was responsible for the death of Tooka. As previously discussed, TYMB members were hell-bent on avenging their friend Ty by taking out an STL EBT member. Meanwhile, Wick City members wanted revenge for what had happened to Reezy. But regardless, ultimately Tooka paid his price for his STL EBT affiliation. In response to this tragic loss, STL EBT would rename their hood Tookaville in his honor, and as a commitment.
Okay, that's why it's called Tookaville.
Brick would rep Tooka's memory to the fullest.
Do you represent Tookaville? Oh, to the fullest. That's why I do it for.
To the
It's
fullest.
always been about since day one. Just took it. Like my homie was 15 years old when he got killed. Never hurt nobody, never did nothing, you know what I'm saying?
Meanwhile, it's actually been said that it was in response to this that members from TYMB and Wick City clicked up to form an alliance in anticipation of some kind of retaliation. And in the face of an intense desire from Tookaville to avenge their fallen brother, soon emerged an intense desire to disrespect Tooka from the BD side. As you may well know, Tooka's name has been endlessly dragged in hip-hop over the years. Now, I'm not going to get into every instance of drama over this happening, but story goes initially the GDs from Tookaville.
Sorry guys, you may see me keep like going. I think I'm coming up with a cough, some sort of chest infection. We'll see.
People like FBG Duck were apparently saying that they were smoking Tooka out of respect for him, a nod to the old story that Tupac's crew, the Outlaws, smoked his ashes in a blunt after he died. But the BD ops from Wick City immediately decided to flip this and start making fun of Tookaville. The most immediate and iconic diss, of course, was Chief Keef's song 300.
Wait. They said they were smoking on a Tooka, like on Tooka as respect.
Tooka gang. And from here, other members continued to disrespect.
Tooka, what I'm smoking on? Shut down. Oh, my bitch, do I see your brain? Right up on your block, bitch.
But beyond simple shit talking on social media, behind the scenes, a demon was lurking in the shadows. Because as we mentioned briefly earlier, one of Tooka's closest friends growing up was a young girl named KI. But you might know her better as the young girl who became a teenage assassin, supposedly racking up 17 bodies by 17. Story goes, it was the death of Tooka that actually turned KI.
No way. America is fucking mad.
Fellow Tookaville GD boss Trell, and maneuvering in the streets by her older brother Seaball, a bloodthirsty teenage KI would soon become a bona fide hitter for the Tookaville GDs. Hellbent on getting revenge for Tooka, KI would eventually find it in the form of OD. At around 11:35 p.m. on August the 10th, 2011, 20-year-old O.D. Perry, respected Wick City member, was shot and killed near Parkway Gardens on 400 block of East 64th Street. O.D. suffered multiple gunshot wounds, including one to the neck, and was pronounced dead at Stroger Hospital within an hour of the shooting. Just like Tuka, in his memory, the Wick City BDs renamed Parkway Gardens O-Block, in his memory, committing to avenge him. Of course, the likes of Chief Keef
that's where O-Block come from.
O-Block, as it is now known today, in their music forever. The killing of O.D. Perry was supposedly revenge for the killing of Tuka, with this apparently being exemplified by the fact that it went down on Tuka's very birthday. O.D.'s killers were never apprehended.
So you killed you killed one of ours, so we're gonna kill one of yours. So it's literally like point scoring.
Well, that this was actually the first victim of teenage Tukaville assassin K.I. And
The thing is with that though, when is that gonna end? When that's just gonna be a revolving circle, isn't it? Oh, I don't know, man.
Rumors was
crazy.
Of course Lil J, who had apparently shared the following image along with a caption saying shout out to them twins that made O-Block, referring to FBG Butter and K.I. However, for the record, no one has been convicted of this crime and there was never any proof tying K.I. or Butter to the killing of O.D. Perry. Well, actually, many years later, a Freedom of Information request did reveal that the cops did officially name K.I. and Bostrel as subjects on the report. This came after an unnamed informant named them as the shooters in 2016. Years after they had passed. But let's just assume for 1 second, based on the reputation that K.I. has when she passed, that a 14-year-old girl from Tukaville really did go out on her first trip to the Op Block and claim the life of a respected Wick City older. It kind of makes sense with the narrative. People from Tukaville couldn't believe she was 14 at such a young age. Combine that with the fact that K.I. was supposedly heartbroken over Tuka's death and was desperate to avenge him. The fact that she had done so at such a young age, getting her the respect of the entire gang, leads me to believe that it's absolutely no surprise that from this point she would go on to build a feared reputation as a complete demon of a shooter for Tukaville, quickly becoming a feared figure in the entire Chicago gang scene. And the suspicion that she was indeed involved in the O.D. Perry incident were only fueled further by tweets that she would release dissing O.D., not dissimilar to the way that the guys over on O-Block had spoken about Tuka in the past. In fact, there's one detail from this story that is so crazy it's like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. It's actually rumored that there was a huge 357 or 44 Magnum that O.D. Perry was known for flexing. Story goes he had this on him when he was taken out, with K.I. apparently taking the gun away from his body after the hit. A rumor based on the fact that she seemed to flex a near identical gun in the years that followed, seemingly as a trophy on social media. Whether or not this is exactly how this situation went down, we'll probably never know for sure. But at least just for her alleged involvement in the hit that made O-Block O-Block, K.I. got a big reputation in Tukaville and will begin to make moves in numerous beefs that stretch far beyond just O-Block. In some ways, it seemed like she got addicted to shooting and killing, but a lot of her story isn't really relevant to this feud, so some of those details are definitely for another day.
Literally, like, these gang members, they're like serial killers because they're killing multiple like gang members. They're basically no different to a serial killer. And trophies as well. Serial killers like having trophies of their victims, right? She allegedly took his gun and had that for years. That's mad.
But
and she's 14.
Sure is that what followed the killing of O.D. Perry was a bloodbath of tit-for-tat,
a young lady,
O-Block and Tukaville that would last nearly 2 years. On the 19th of October 2011, Edward Riley, also known as Patoon, from O-Block was walking with his girlfriend on 63rd and King Drive, at which point 2 suspects approached and gunned him down, only 1 block south on 64th, closer to O-Block. And from here, the suspects went even further down the block, shooting a 15-year-old in the head who miraculously survived. Patoon unfortunately
and survived.
So
hey, big ups to that 15-year-old. Big ups. Fucking ain't survived. Oh my god, that's crazy.
And in his memory, at least for a brief period, people began to call the area Toontown, though ultimately the name O-Block was retained. Once again, there's been intense speculation over exactly what went down or who was responsible for the hit on Patoon, as apparently in addition to Tukaville, a GD set called MOB also had a motive to take out Patoon as part of a different feud that he was involved in via 600, who were also BDs affiliated with O-Block.
It's all politics, isn't it?
There were 2 assailants there that day, with one being Lil B from Tukaville and the other allegedly being Beans from MOB. It's also been said by many that Wooski from Tukerville was involved in this. And I'll be honest, when I started this video, I said to myself, I don't want to be accusing people of killings that they haven't been convicted for, especially if they're still alive.
Crazy
But hell,
out there.
I googled who killed Platoon, and even Google featured snippets of snitching on Wooski. I couldn't believe that. Many people over on our Shy Rap
Oh,
on Reddit
shit.
have suggested in the past that Wooski had something to do with this, with others writing it off as complete internet cap, mainly due to his young age at the time. All we know is that right now, no one has been convicted of the slaying of Platoon, and the really sad thing is that after the loss of such a beloved O-Block member, it wouldn't take them long to lose yet another.
Now that is the end of part 2. Part 3 will be released in a few days, maybe tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. If you've watched this video the whole way through and you want to let me know you've watched it the whole way through, drop down in the comments the special code word, and the special code word is melon. Because I got a watermelon head. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Take care. Peace out.